This video is on the Ego short version shrub trimmer, the Power Plus. This is the protective cover on the hedge trimmers. You want to keep this on when it's not in use, because even though if this is not running, it will still cut you. You have to be careful on it because they are still sharp. I have the guys take off the cover at the truck or the trailer and leave it there because there's been too many times that it was taken off at the job site at the shrubs, and it was left there, and then we don't have any protective cover for the blades. To put the battery on, just like any of the other Ego equipment, you have a groove here, and then there's another groove at the in the battery. So you just find where the grooves slide on until you hear it click, and then the battery is engaged. To operate it, there is a switch here on the front handle. There's a switch here on the top of the back handle, and then the trigger on the bottom of the back handle. So you have to have all three of those engaged before it will start. So to start it, you hold the front handle, press down the button, and then press the trigger. Lift on the trigger. Okay, and then you just cut the shrubs. And that's how you operate the Ego short version trimmer. Now, before I put the protective cover back on, after cutting shrubs, we sterilize the blades so that we don't transfer disease and insects to other properties. So we use the organic, garden safe fungicide 3 gardens and products: fungicide, insecticide, and miticide. So that sterilizes and kills the insects, so it's not transferred to another property. And that's all it is to operate the short version of the hedge trimmers. This clip is on safety on the hedge trimmer. This is a long hedge trimmer. This is the long Ego hedge trimmer. And the first thing is make sure you keep the sheath on. This is a protective sheath, and I believe it goes on this way, so the bar is on top. Now, on the hedge trimmers, it doesn't matter which one it is, you can still cut yourself even if it's not running. Okay, I had a guy, give you a true life story. I had a guy, it was raining. It started raining when we was on a property. And I had a guy that was in a hurry after he got done trimming the shrubs, and when it started raining, and he put this sheath on there, and because it was wet, his hand came down and cut. Had a big gash on his palm of his hand. He had to go to the essential care, have several stitches. So even though it's not running, it can still cut you very seriously. So this is a protective sheath that needs to be on there when it's not in use. And that's how we put it on, very, very carefully. And that's pretty much all there is to as far as a safety feature to the Ego hedge trimmer. I mean, unless you're going to take it and swing it like a bat at somebody, there's nothing else there that could cause any damage. This video is what not to do when we cut shrubs or tree branches. This section here is a flat cut all the way across. That is not the proper way to cut branches. The reason being is because any moisture, the sprinklers, rain, any dew in the morning, the moisture will build up on that flat surface, cause the tree section to become soft and eventually rot, and it will be accessible to disease and insects. This over here would be the proper way to cut it. You cut it at an angle so that the moisture will drip off or drain off the section of the stump. This part here is not how to cut shrubs or tree limbs. It's rough, jagged. This also makes it acceptable to disease and insects. Here's another picture, probably a better picture of that technique. You see all these, they're more torn than cut. So you want a nice even cut. So all these sections here, these are going to be accessible to disease and insects. Honestly, this was from a one-time customer's house. We just cut his grass. And I think this shrub, I think he did his own shrubs. We were asked, we asked if he wanted us to do them, and he said no, and so he just cut them himself. So they will probably not last long because all this section here is going to be accessible to disease and insects. If it was just like maybe one branch, probably wouldn't be too much harm, but all these are cut, rough and jagged, and so they're probably not going to last a couple of years. This clip is before and after shrub trimming. The one on the left is before. You see it's kind of bushy, kind of wild looking. The one on the right is tight and square. That's how most of our customers like their shrubs. This is a picture of what happens when we don't pick up clippings on shrubs. See these dead clippings here? They just keep piling up, piling up. They don't disintegrate as fast as grass clippings. So we don't want to leave these in the plant bed because it's not appealing. I also did shrubs today on the top here, and these up here are blooming, so our rule of thumb is if it's blooming we don't trim them, but as it was growing over the turf, we want to still keep the separation from the grass from the shrubs. The shrubs were growing over into the grass, so I did a one swipe down the row here just to keep it separate. This is an example why we don't cut large pieces of wood or branches. I don't know if we can see it. Yeah, there it is. Because it'll bend the blades. Just trim the small, tender